Shanti, as we say around here. Thank you all for being here on time. We wish to start so that we can also give you more or less on-time ending. And I just want to quickly go over the schedule for what is going to happen in the course of this evening here with us. So we have a few different things. Of course, everything at the Brahma Kumaris has to start with a meditation. So I'm going to invite Sister Chaya in a little bit. But before that, I want to just set the thing that we're going to talk about why are we here. After the meditation, I'm going to explain how did we get here, what are some of the stepping stones before getting to this gathering. And I'm going to also connect it with the initiatives that the Brahma Kumaris does globally. For since the 1990s, we've been doing a number of initiatives, and I'll talk about why and where and how, what we've been doing. And then I'm going to invite our keynote speaker for today. She's going to be facilitating the dialogue and also giving her words of wisdom. Sister Aruna Ladwa, who's coming from Kuwait especially for this. And then after that, we're going to have some inspirations from our local head from Bangalore, Sister Ambika. She's going to give us a few inspirations. And then we're going to have some next steps, where we're going to go from here, right? We want to know what has inspired in your minds and how we can be of service and how can we move this movement together going forward. And then we're going to wrap that up with some meditation, and then we go upstairs. There's a nice dining setup, and we're going to have dinner, and then hopefully by about 9 o'clock you'll all be on your way. Any questions about the agenda? Anything that you would like to see, or anything that I haven't talked about regarding the agenda flow for this evening? Alright. Alright, so now I'm going to invite Sister Chaya to please come up and initiate this evening with a meditation commentary.
Om Shanti. So a few minutes of silence for the self. I request all of you to be seated, relaxed. Just observe the silence outside. As you tune inside, slowly we get switched off from the outside noise, the sounds. I synchronize myself with my thought of being peace. I am peace. As I create this thought, there is a structure being formed. Each thought of mine creates a beautiful vibrations of peaceful feeling within. I am surrounded by this feeling, treasure within me. I create very subtle structure within me, which connects me to my own wellness. I am the being of light, sentient energy, radiating power, deep within me lies the treasure of clarity and power. I open myself to this structure of wellness within me as I slowly synchronize. I get tuned to this well-being of being peace. as I start to relate myself to my inner peace, the outside world around me is peaceful, soothing and vibrant. My inner world is ready to accept all the inputs from outside. But I remind myself that I am peace. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Chaya. It's always beautiful to start anything with a few moments of taking the time to center, to become still, and then ask, what is the best investment of my time? So I want to tell you a little bit about the history behind this. You probably see some signs here, SPIR-IT Summit, and how we got here. So the story goes back 2014. The IT Minister of the state of Telangana had visited our retreat center in Hyderabad. And he says that that was the year, if you remember, 2014 was the first formation year of the state of Telangana. He invited the Brahmakumaris to create the first conference in India at the intersection of technology, spirituality and leadership. So my friends from here, from Hyderabad, called me. I live in San Francisco. By the way, my name is Janardhan. I live in San Francisco, do this kind of work with the CEOs and leaders in Silicon Valley. So they called me there because I was involved with a movement called Wisdom 2.0. Wisdom 2.0 is a very interesting thing. If you get a chance, please look it up. It was founded by the creators of Twitter, eBay, Zynga, etc. And it's a unique conference in the world that you will see a Buddhist monk and the CEO of LinkedIn sitting on the same stage. You'll see the founder of Twitter and a Franciscan monk questioning the future of humanity as it relates to the influx of technology into our world and the speed of life, and asking ourselves, are we actually creating technology that's making this world a better place? And if not, what can we learn from ancient wisdom that can influence that? Okay? So we partnered, between me in San Francisco and the team in Hyderabad, we titled this thing called SPIR-IT Summit, because the technology, as I mentioned to you, the focus is around IT companies and IT organizations, which is where our retreat center is surrounded by these companies. And so that was the launch in 2014, December. We launched the first event. We had 50 CEOs. We have something called a CXO Dialogue, where we had 55 CEOs and over 1,000 IT staff attending on day 2. The subsequent year, we were invited to do the same thing in Pune by the founder and CEO of Amdocs. The third year, we went to Chennai. Fourth year, we were in Bangalore, 2017. And this year, last month, I was in Delhi to launch the SPIR-IT Summit CXO Dialogue, and we had about 70 business leaders who came to our retreat center called Om Shanti Retreat Center in Gurgaon. So today's event actually follows up on that event, the CXO Dialogue that we had in the month of October of 2017. So at the end of the dialogue, we had about 75 CEOs, C-level executives on day 1. Day 2, we had about 70 HR leaders. We had it at the Chancery Hotel. And then we said, what is that we want to do to continue this conversation? So what we figured is that the majority vote was that we're going to get together every 3 months or so, every quarter, for a little simple gathering like this, no big agenda, have a little conversation, have a dinner together, just to keep in touch and see what new inspirations we have and what new inspirations you have in terms of how we can serve you better. So this is the first event that followed up from that CXO Dialogue. Now, what I want to talk to you is connect the dots between this event, the SPIR-IT Summit that's happening here, and the initiatives of the Brahma Kumaris globally. A friend of mine, Ken O'Donnell, who's the head of the Brahma Kumaris in Brazil, and I were sitting down and just discussing and thinking, how far do these initiatives of the leadership go back, our Brahma Kumaris with leaders around the world? And the first event that we could recall was in the year 1990. We were invited to the Science and Consciousness conference in Greece, where we had 4 Nobel laureates in talking about where intersection of, where it's come full circle, where science meets consciousness. And subsequently, now this is a picture from very recent past. This is a picture I actually pulled out of the BBC News from the month of January. This, what you're seeing here behind me, is a photograph of Sister Jayanti leading a meditation at the World Economic Forum in Davos. So, World Economic Forum, as you know, is known for many things, not really meditation, right? It's a power show. It is a place where the who's who of the world, the leaders of the world, leaders of all kinds of businesses, countries, etc., come together. But what we have seen in the last 3 to 4 years is an increasing interest in the field of meditation. So this is actually a snippet that was published, an article that was published by the BBC talking about how many leaders around the world are looking into meditation as a powerful tool to navigate these kind of uncertain times. So going further, the Brahma Kumaris have been conducting these things called the Call of Time Dialogues. This is particularly for the political and social leaders around the world. We've been doing this for almost 15 years, and primarily it's been happening in USA, UK and India. These dialogues happen by invitation only, to create a forum where we can discuss and collectively choose how we want to move forward. Spirit of Humanity is an initiative with many people, including the city of Reykjavik. So this happens mostly in Iceland, the Brahma Kumaris. Then we have the Fetzer Institute, a number of other such bodies that are interested in using consciousness as a tool to help the world become a better place. The Peace of Mind retreats is something that happens in our headquarters in Mount Abu, and as the name suggests, it's exactly that. It's an opportunity for leaders to come and experience for a few days, 4 to 5 days, real deep peace of mind, and there's a number of workshops that are organized. And as you can see from the name Brahma Kumaris, one of our key initiatives is to work with women, empowering women. So this is a picture that is from the UK, but we have similar gatherings that, under different names, 4 Faces of Women, Women of Spirit is this particular one, etc., that happen globally, where we are fostering community and skills and leadership abilities of women in different fields of life. Future of Power is an initiative that started about 5 years ago, and it has traveled from India. A lot of the big cities in India were covered, then it went to Australia, and then last year it had come to the United States. This is a forum for leaders to come together to discuss and decide what does it mean to be a responsible leader. Okay, so that's the Future of Power initiative. And this is an interesting thing. So we have in a room here the ex-ambassador of India to the United States. Now there's a connection there. This initiative called the Wise Leader Retreats was proposed by the successor of Mr. Parthasarathy, Mr. Venkatesh Ashok, who is the current ambassador based in San Francisco. One day I was in his office and he asked me, he said, Jonathan, why don't you start a retreat, a gathering, where we can foster wisdom and compassion-based leadership within Silicon Valley CEOs. So the picture you're seeing behind me is the second in the series. We started in 2017. This January 2018 we had a gathering. And it's just a wonderful group of, obviously it started very small, but the friendship, the camaraderie, the intention to come together and to take this movement forward and spread across Silicon Valley is so powerful. And so much so that now they are asking me when is the next gathering. So when I go back, I'm going back next month. And in April we're going to have another dinner just like what you guys have seen here tonight. So now this, I took you around the world, and so like I mentioned, 1990 was when we first started these leadership dialogues and events in the Western world. In India, it has been going on for more than 50 years. Now what you see here is the current Information Technology Minister, and there is really not a field of life that has not been touched. The Brahma Kumaris function through 22 wings. So these are by sector, for example, business industry wing, the jurist wing, the media, etc. And so through different wings, we have served people from like astronauts to business leaders to heads of state to social leaders, you name it. I don't think there's a particular sector that has not been influenced by the Brahmakumaris. With all of this to say, ultimately one thing, the Brahmakumaris are interested in helping people in positions of power to make the world a better place. Right? For you and for me, for the entire human race. So that is why we bring these gatherings in different parts of the world. So with that, I'm going to invite my dear friend for many years, Sister Aruna Ladva, who's come in here from Kuwait to be with us, to lead us through some inspirations and through a dialogue on creating structures of wellness. Please welcome Sister Aruna Ladva.
Shanti, I think I need that. Som Shanti. Have all of you met each other on the table? Do you all kind of know each other? Not all? So why don't you just take a minute to just say hello and say who you are? Yeah, just on the table. I meant just around the table, so at least you get to know, and then I'll swap you again. Just so you have some friends in the room, right? Everybody on that table met each other? Yeah? They know each other. Okay. Actually, this is the thing. When we melt the ice, or break the ice, then the room feels smaller. You see? If we don't know each other, then the room feels bigger. No, I'm just saying that when we get to know each other, the room feels smaller, right? So now we become one big happy family. Yes, so I was asked to come and share my thoughts on this. I feel very privileged to be here with all of you. I can't say I'm a... well, we're all pieces of... in process, aren't we? We're all making our spiritual endeavor to attain this spiritual peak that Janardhan Bhai was talking about. And all of us are on our own separate journeys. And the reason why we stay on the journey is because we know it works. We know that as you apply spirituality to your daily life, it really does reap rewards. And when you stop doing it, you also know the consequences. So basically, it's so important to embody spirituality in our life in whatever way we can. And as we do that, you will see how we become not only like better people, but we become better to be with, we become more successful, but again, not just financially, but we feel a sense of purpose, we feel a sense of giving back to the community. And so it's like a holistic growth, actually. It's not just singular, but it shapes all areas of our life. Okay, so with that said, let me begin. So first few slides are, can we maybe, yes, so far hata sakte hain? So these first few slides are just about, welcome, yeah, welcome. These first few slides are just to kind of paint the picture of, where we're at the moment. And I'm sure you notice this in the workplace. So a lot of demands, right? Multitasking. When I saw this picture, actually, it reminded me of the Shiva dance. Where Shiva has several arms? Nataraj, that's it, the Nataraj dance. And so this is the Nataraj dance that we're trying to do at work. We're trying to multitask, always short of time and working non-stop. But did you know that the theory of multitasking doesn't work anymore? They say that you can't do more than one thing. If you do, then you're not successful. especially if the activity are different brains, you know, one is left brain, one is right brain. So don't expect your employees to do multitasking, because if they won't succeed, then again you'll put more pressure on them. It's better they do one thing and do it properly than to do 2-3 things at one time. Yes, we're living in an era of information overload. So, you know, everybody has access to the internet. That means everybody has access to all the same information. It's not that there is just a small group privy to certain information. And because of this, people spend so much time. How much time do your kids, you know, spend on the phone, internet? It's incredible. And once you get on WhatsApp, right, you can't stop, because you want to watch this video and message that one. And so really, last year I took 1 month off WhatsApp. So I informed all my groups, and I said, I'm not going to be seeing my WhatsApp for a few weeks, I said. But it ended up being like just under 28 days. And believe it or not, when I went back to the WhatsApp, I saw all my messages in 58 minutes. You know? So, of course, I skipped some of the videos. And if there was something urgent, I'd ask them to email me, and that I would respond at my own time. So imagine, 1 month's content was sorted and sifted in 58 minutes. So I'm going to do that experiment again this year. I'm going to pick another month. But you might like to do that, is to really de-addict yourself from technology and see what, you know, how you feel, see what it does to you. So yes, our mind is being hijacked with all this information. And then we wonder what happened, you know. I'm going to come to the slide of distractions in a minute. But what is our dream working life actually? Our dream working life is to be at peace and calm. And what we call actually is in the eye of the storm. So they say the safest place to be at sea when there's a big storm is in the middle of it. And you see these pictures, right, on TV where the hurricane is moving around. So in the middle, it's the calmest spot. So a good captain will navigate the ship to be in the center. But here what we're talking about is to be in the center here, to be centered. In fact, even our meditation centers are to get you centered. Think about it. In other words, to find your, you know, seat of calm, seat of peace. We say actually the throne, your throne, which is called the Raja Yoga throne, which is the seat of self-respect. And so in meditation, we sit on this seat of calm and peace. So yes, as I was saying, so many distractions at work. You know, they say that 53% of the people focus on the task, but 46 or 47% get distracted. So imagine what this implies for work, productivity, employee engagement, stress levels, mental and other. Imagine your people at work getting distracted. Here's another statistic also. 62% of the people say they've been distracted from doing work on computers, checking emails, browsing the web. And you know, as soon as you're working on the computer and you hear a ping or a pong, you want to go, right? You want to check your phone. So again, there's no mind management. There's no control on this. And so, you know, we begin. There's a saying, right, that I went out to pay the bill, and on my way, the car didn't work, so I started talking to the neighbor, and then I saw the neighbor's flowers were nice, so I started helping her do the gardening. And, you know, basically by the end of the morning, she didn't accomplish. She was completely way off her task, her job that she intended to do. So, you know, again, we have to have so much mental discipline. We need to have so much focus in order to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So where is this focus going to come from? How are we going to be able to discipline the mind? and of course, Raj Yoga meditation. So this is a crisis in today's workplace. Yes, let me just say, so what is the result of a wandering mind in the workplace? So the result is, right, low mood or off mood, poor self-image, meaning one doesn't think worthy of themselves, right, or capable or equipped. Mood swings, which means today they feel good, tomorrow they're grumpy, you know, so they don't have the same enthusiasm to do the jobs that they're supposed to. Irritability, stress, emotion. Emotion means energy in motion, which means we're getting emotional very quickly. In other words, sensitivity is also an emotion. In fact, competition, jealousy, all these things, it's about getting emotional. And when one is emotional, right, when your emotions are like this, then again, it's hard for you to use your discrimination power. Because your discrimination power is also wavering with the emotion. So again, you can't take good decisions. You see? So, there are 4 levels of stress. Maybe you have heard of this. So, there is physical, here, the body, emotional, feelings. In other words, am I able to manage my emotions? And if I'm not, then that's emotional stress, right? So it could be emotional pain. Sometimes we even emotionally. In other words, we call it emotional eating. Because I'm not feeling good, I eat extra. Or I eat a lot of chocolates, or I drink a lot of coffee, etc. This is all as a result of not feeling emotionally good. Mental. Again, I'm not thinking straight, maybe waste thinking, negative thinking, can't discriminate, not being able to be selective. Am I able to decide properly? Right? If I have mental stress, I struggle with this ability, with this capacity. And then we say spiritual, right? Spiritual stress is, do I know who I am? And what is the belief about myself? You know, there was this, one of our students, right, Brian Bacon. And so he used to have an answering machine. He used to live in Australia and he used to have an answering machine. And he used to be very good at giving these meditation classes. But anyway, that was his home phone. So at his home phone, he used to have an answering machine. And as you phoned, and as the machine answered, the machine asked, who are you really and what do you really want? You know? Who are you really? So it would make people think, what does he mean, who are you really? And what do you really want? Like, you want some love and attention? Like, what do you want? It's not that you just want to speak to Brian, but... So it was really good, I remember that, because it makes us think, who am I? It's a multi-billion-dollar question. Who am I? Are you the CEO? Are you the leader? Are you the father? Are you the son? Like, what? You know, every day we wear so many hats. And the hats keep changing. If you behave the same way to your wife as you do to your colleagues, would it work? No. You'd be, I think, fired, right? So basically, we know that unconsciously we are changing hats. From the moment you leave your house, you get in your car, you're coming to work, you're already changing your mindset about yourself. And you suddenly, start to get into this, well, I'm the boss, I'm the leader, I have to tell people what to do. And when you come back home, again, you start to take that off. You start to say, okay, I'm at home now. In other words, I can be myself. So all these identities, we struggle, part of our struggle is not knowing who am I, and that is the spiritual identity. And so it's my response ability. So I'm going to show you this, okay? It's my ability to respond. So I'd like you to tell me, what is E plus R equals O? What does E stand for? What does R stand for? What does O stand for? And that is the clue here. This is the clue. E plus R equals O. What's E? Emotion? Huh? Response? Okay, this is response, yes. Outcome is O. So what is E? Not emotion. Ego, no. Energy, no. Very close. Event. Okay? Event plus your response equals the outcome. So many times, would you like to come sit here maybe? Then you can see. So many times what happens is we can't change the event, right? You can't change your wife, you can't change your children, you can't change your job so frequently. So most of the time the event stays the same. Okay. So now, if you want a different outcome, then you have to change your response. Yes? So this person, right, one of them has to change. One of them has to give a different response. And that's why we say, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you always got. Okay? So somewhere one person has to change something, has to change the dynamic. And as we change the dynamic, we become masters of our stress. So this is the point, that we are creators of our own stress, as we are totally responsible for the responses we create towards others and to the circumstances around us. And every response begins with a thought. So this is what we mean about I have to take responsibility for my life. See, the opposite of responsibility is blame. If I'm blaming you, if I'm blaming the government, if I'm blaming my guru, whatever, then what am I saying? That only they have the power to change me or to help me. Anytime you blame them and you say, because of you I'm unhappy, then what are you saying? Only you can make me happy. So opposite of blame is take responsibility, take personal responsibility. And that's why you're leaders, because you have the ability to respond to situations. You know what's needed when. You act. But now to act with that spiritual edge. This is the only thing now, to add more of, we'll come to that in a minute, what I mean by that. So what is happening? Think about what is happening constantly to create those stresses in our life, okay? There is something called the fight or flight syndrome. So basically, in the old days, when we used to go picking our berries, remember when we used to go in the jungles? I won't say catch our meat because we're vegetarian, but imagine you went picking for your berries and you saw a lion or a tiger, okay? What did you say? Hi, how are you? Did you stop to meet the lion or tiger? What did you do? You run, right? There's another joke around this. So there were these two friends, okay? And these two friends were walking in the jungle. I mean, in the park, but, And so one of them said, wait a minute, you know what? Let me just take my trainers before we go. And he said, why? And he said, because if somebody comes after us, or something comes after us, then at least I'll be able to run faster than you. Do you get it? So at least he'll outrun the other and the other one will get caught. So anyway, the point is that if there was a situation like that, what used to happen to the body is, we call it the fight or flight response, okay? Which means that the body would prepare itself to either attack, right? Fight, which means there would be more muscle, more blood, more oxygen. Your eyes go like this so that you're able to see clearly. If you've been eating, your digestion stops. More blood goes to the legs, the arms. And so yeah, we either fight or we run, we flight, we run from the place. So But we were using that energy, the adrenaline that was being pumped into the blood, we were using that energy. But now, okay, say your mother-in-law says something to you, or something happens at work, you can't fight, nor can you flight. Right? You have to be there, you have to face it. And so what's happening is all the adrenaline is still being pumped into the body, but it's not being used. Are you understanding? It's not being used, yani you're not running. The blood is not, being pumped, and it's being pumped, but it's not being utilized. Or the oxygen, you're taking in deep breaths, but again, you're not exhaling fast enough. So what happens is all these sicknesses, you can't see, but here, right? Heart rate increases, the bladder, tunnel vision, shaking, how some people, their hand shakes. So anyway, all these sicknesses start to appear. And that's why we say that it's a state of dis-ease. I think the next slide is, yeah. So basically what is happening is every dis-ease in the mind is creating a disease in the body. Yeah? Actually, if you see, then worry causes ulcers, tension, anxiety causes skin rashes, but tension and anxiety also causes asthma. That's a fact. Fear, heart attacks, anger, liver function, malfunction, negative thinking, depression. And there's a list goes on. These are just a few examples. And this is why there's this new theory. The theory is that as you have something going on in your body, find out what's the correlation or correlating mental issue, and then try to deal with that. So in other words, if I'm having liver problems, then maybe I need to reduce my anger. Try to work the other way. Or if I'm having palpitations, then maybe just be a little calm, be a little cool, let go of things. There's a whole new theory around this now, is to look at the emotion, deal with the emotion, as well as, of course, the body, the organ. So really, I'd like to say that, mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Think about it. Don't mind, don't mind, which means don't think about it. Okay, so for example, if, say the ambassador here, right? Ambassadors are known for throwing parties, right? So Mr. Ambassador has thrown a party and he invites all of you, but he doesn't invite me. How am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to feel? He didn't invite me to the party. So what should I do? How should I feel? Sorry? Never mind. That's now after Raj Yoga. Before Raj Yoga? Huh? Humiliated? You curse him. No, I don't think I'd curse him, but yeah, I wouldn't be very happy. Right? I wouldn't be happy, and I'd be feeling like left out. I'd be sensitive. Right? Hurt. Yeah. That why me? Why I'm the only one that's not invited? Okay, but now after Raj Yoga, I can truly say that I really don't mind. Because my life is so full that I have so many things to do, and there must be a reason. This is what we learn in Raj Yoga meditation, that if I'm not invited, there must be a good reason. And especially if you have a relationship with this person, you trust that maybe they didn't invite you because maybe it is a waste of your time. Maybe, he just wants to socialize and he knows that you've got better things to do. So you have to trust. Okay? But this kind of thinking only comes when you start thinking powerful thoughts. When you don't mind. And this is one big reason why we need to manage our mind. You see? Psychosomatic. If we don't manage our mind, then who is managing my mind? If I'm not managing it, in other words, if I'm not feeling strong about, the decisions I'm making or how I'm feeling, then other people will take the remote and manage my mind. So don't give your remote away to other people. I know it's easy to say, but just think about it. Don't mind, don't think about it, don't create more thoughts, and it's okay, it doesn't matter. In fact, I always give the example of my grey hair. I'm not as old as I look, but one day, you know what, I just decided. I said, you know, it's so much hassle, right? The women know how much hassle it is to dye the hair, okay? So I just said, you know what, I don't mind. I don't mind my hair being white. And if I don't mind, then other people shouldn't mind. So first, when you come to this conclusion yourself, that I don't mind, then really others don't mind, you know? But if I'm bothered by something, you pull other people's attention, and then they are bothered by it, and then they question you, and then you doubt yourself, right? So really, don't mind, and move on. So these are the ways in which we give our power away. So even kids, huh? This is that movie. You must see it actually. You've seen this? What is it called? It's animation by Disney. It's got all the emotions playing out in your mind. Anyway, it's a very, very good movie, very spiritual movie, in which it shows how what's going on in the minds of people, and how all these different emotions, like this girl is Miss Angry, so how these emotions are playing out and controlling the person. Okay, so how do I give my power away to somebody? By being influenced. You know, so something happens and I'm triggered. So this is something that you need to also think about. What are my triggers? What is triggering me in this situation? Like say somebody doesn't give reports on time, or somebody's always coming late. I mean, they're coming late, but why are you getting mad? Why are you getting angry? And I'm sure you know this, that if you lose your calm, if you lose your temper, then nobody listens to you. They will listen, but it's like not listening, right? They'll say, oh yeah, okay, just hear him out and we'll go back and do what we need to do. But if you're calm and you're composed, and then you say what you need to say, then it will go in, it will sink, because they'll realize that you are calm. You see, I always say there's no point having a fast Ferrari and no brakes to stop it. Right? The only reason why you go fast in your Ferrari is because you know you have the brakes. So in the same way, you can be a great leader, you can be a great CEO, you can be managing many people and many companies, but at the same time you have to have the ability to stop, to brake, to pause. This is the art, actually, this is the art that Raj Yoga meditation teaches. Otherwise, yes, you might have a great vision, and you know you're trying to pull your team along, and you may be moving very fast, but not for long, because something will stop you. You know, because at some point you have to slow down, you have to stop. So take these conscious breaks actually throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, and really just empower yourself, you know, by taking a pause, taking a break. Okay, so why corporate wellness? Yeah, so this is the topic that here we're discussing, creating structures of wellness. So this is what I'd like to say. If you apply these programs or Raj Yoga meditation, and I'm going to take you through a few of them in a minute, then what's actually happening is there's a better working environment. I think even you know of Google, right? Google, you would know better maybe, but Google has decided to create a very open kind of working environment. So they're given certain hours, but they can decide, you know, when they want to work and where they want to work and how they want to work, because they feel that if employees have a certain amount of freedom or mental freedom, then they can be more creative. So this is the thing, if you empower people, and there was an experiment done actually in Brazil some time ago, I'd read it some time ago. So basically one son had inherited a company from his father. So he thought that, okay, now my father's gone, I'm going to make the changes that I've always wanted to make in the company. So what he did is he said, okay, same concept like Google. He said, okay, the people have to work 8 hours. They can decide when they want to work. If they want to come morning, evening, night shift, I don't care, so long as their job gets done, okay? Secondly, he said that all the stores, he said, I don't want them locked, I want them open. And before the stores were locked, there was a 5% theft rate, right? So people were stealing 5% of the stuff. But he said, no, I want to leave them open and make the stores I want the people to be accountable to the stores. And then they were wearing overalls, right? So they were wearing, I don't know which color, but let's say orange. So they were wearing orange overalls. And he said, no, ask the people, ask the staff what color overalls they want to wear. And they can decide and we'll have that color, okay? So believe it or not, right, what happened is exactly as it was. So the stores stayed open, but still there was only 5% theft rate, okay? Overalls, again, because now they had a choice, they felt they were wearing it out of choice, and they chose the same orange color. But now with pride, because they thought I'm wearing it because I'm choosing it, not that somebody's telling me to do it. And thirdly, the stores, the overall, and the timing. So the timing, again, yeah, I mean, it worked. Some of them chose different shifts, but it just worked, you know? Now they felt more empowered, they were giving more, they weren't skipping time, or they weren't making excuses or lying not to come to work. And really, the company prospered, you know? But it was the vision of this guy that let me empower the employees. Even today, as I was in one company, I read this quote on the wall, and it's from Steve Jobs. And so Steve Jobs is saying that, yes, I hire smart people, but not so I can tell them what to do, so they can tell me what it is we need to do. You know, why to hire a smart person and then you're just making them a puppet? They should be able to tell you what's needed, because they should be so smart, right? They should be experts. So you're giving them, you're trusting them, you're giving them that autonomy, that authority. So this is the thing. The environment grows, better resilience in dealing with high expectations, right? So more tolerance power, more adjustment power. Happy employees, therefore they stay longer in the workplace, right? If you've got happy people, in fact, there's one girl in Bahrain who's been in her job for 24 years. And she's like an architect in this company, somebody else's company, she's been there. And I said, why don't you change your job? I said, normally people change their job every 5 years. She said, I don't need to, I don't have any reason to, I'm quite happy. You know, and they treat her well. So she said, why should I stress? So she's an Indian living in Bahrain and working in the same job for 24 years. And then also you're able to keep your employees longer. In other words, as you give them more incentives, you know, they're more loyal to you. They're more loyal to doing the work and staying with you. So this is why we should do corporate wellness, and I'll come to why further. So what is the, yes, what I want to, some of the slides are, can we not adjust the thing? So I want to say here that the core of wellness actually is you. See, if we might be working on the mind, the body, the spirit, the soul, but ultimately, if I am doing well, if I'm happy, and there's a whole balance, that's why we call it holistic health. Holistic health means mind, body, and spirit. Okay? Today I was saying to somebody that you can have a really good body, okay, really the most fittest body, the most healthiest body, but if you're unhappy, you're still not fully happy, right? Because It will have an effect on the body, but plus it's not holistic health. Okay? Or as I said, you might have a great mind. You feel that your mind is, in your control and you're feeling good. But again, if there's some aches or pains in the body, that will pull your attention. So we have to think of the individual as a whole. In the companies, I think more and more is appearing now, more exercise, more yoga. But let me tell you another story though. This is another story from Japan. It's real life story. So what they did in Japan is they created a room downstairs. So the office is up there. They created a room downstairs. And in the room they padded all the walls. And so if anybody felt angry, they put on the punching gloves and they go and punch the walls, and they're supposed to get rid of their anger. So what do you think happened? Did they get rid of their anger? No. Why? Huh? It's in the mind, yeah. That's one good reason. Yes, it's in their mind. First you have to deal with getting rid of the seed, right? Which is angry thoughts. Yes, but also right? We say in Hindi, sanskars. As they were punching the wall, they were creating the sanskar of anger. And you're repeating this habit. When you're getting angry and frustrated, and you keep doing the same movement, you're getting more angry actually. So why I'm saying this is because we have to be careful about the programs we create. They should be healthy, they should be positive, and we should think it through, Okay, so what is increasing in the workplace now is something called mindfulness, right? So as you know, mindfulness is actually a Buddhist term, but we call it meditation, we call it reflection, we call it awareness. And really every company is applying this, as you can see here. Google, this medical company, Aetna, Mayo Clinic, and United States Marine Corporation. They're all using meditation in the workplace. And I think you know that the Brahma Kumaris also goes into several prisons in several parts of the world. And even in Kuwait, actually, we have one Indian brother who just signed some checks, and they bounced. And that's a fraud in Kuwait. So he hasn't committed any major crime, it's just checks. But he's in jail now for 3 years. And he is serving the people in jail. Like so many people who come out, have come to the center. And you know what he's doing? It really gives me goose pimples. So he started to make samosas, right? He was allowed to, buy the supplies, and I don't know how, but he now makes samosas. He offers them, prasad to God, and he sells them. So he sells them for 250 fils, which is like your 50 rupees. And then whatever money he makes, he's sending that to the center. It's incredible. But every single day, he calls for 1 minute and asks us what is the, what is the thought for the day. And amazing. And he's kept his stage. Never once have we had to say to him, everything's going to be all right. And, we've never had to kind of pity him. He's the one who's telling us, I'm fine, I'm strong, everything's good. And it's not a great situation, but he has learned to make the worst into the best. And he's sitting there doing seva in the prison. So again, this is the power of Raj Yoga meditation, how we can really, turn things around in our favor and not take sorrow. Okay, so this is where I want to stop for a few minutes and get you to dialogue. But this is what I want you to discuss actually. So there's something called strength-based leadership. Okay, strength-based leadership is a new paradigm of leadership which responds to the need. And what strength-based leadership is saying is 30 years of research confirm that if we lead from a base of strengths versus weaknesses, right? So peace, contentment, compassion, happiness versus anxiety, anger, fear. that we are more creative, more intuitive, and more easily aligned, okay, with everything that's happening. And so there is a metric between the thought and the repertoire, which means what is happening outside. In other words, what I'm thinking and what's happening outside of me. So strength-based leadership is about focusing on your qualities, on your virtues. And not only yours, but on the qualities of those that are working with you or for you. So what I'd like you to discuss just in the tables, and I don't know, maybe you can join here or maybe this table can join, is, yes, one is how you see strength-based leadership, and yes, does it work? You can argue the point with me. Is it a good idea or not? And how can we maybe begin to apply this in our companies? Strength-based leadership, what is it? Is it worth it? And how can we apply it in our companies? Is that clear? So I'd like you to just discuss in your tables strength-based leadership. Then we'll hear some feedback from you. Okay? Just to also break this up now a bit. Like, why would you use peace, contentment, compassion as a tool of leadership versus anger or anxiety? Why? Because anger works, right? You get angry and they listen, right? But why would you use the other now? Okay, let's stop. I think we're having really interesting discussions, so let's hear from a few. I think this table has done a lot of good work. So who would like to share?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Sunil. So we have discussed on few points in line with the peace, contentment, compassion and generosity. So it's on team and how to lead the team. One is conviction and belief. So we should be having that, and then how to deliver it to the team, that's important. And competence, which is the how part. And then solution finding approach from our side if there is a conflict. And resolve the conflict and crises. And create a passionate environment which comes with clear why, and then decide on how to achieve it.
Yeah, I'm Anandarao here. Understanding the objective or goal of our organization, or as a leadership, what is that we are meant for, driving a point to our team. Very important, as you said, the same thing we have been discussing. We should have thorough conviction. There is a saying, unless we are convinced about something, we can't convince others. The leadership should have a strong conviction about objectives, organizational goals, etc. Then only there is that is what is very, very important. Then is competence. The competence, not only the leadership having it as an inherent component, but instilling the same kind of confidence in the team to develop the competence and confidence in themselves. In the process of heading towards a goal or organizational objectives, definitely there are supposed to be conflicts or non-compliance among the team members. It is all up to how we can put our act together to take a team towards the goal. Solution finding approach where you can endorse with the conflict, the causes which are the conflicts, the ability for the leadership to take the team to move towards the solution finding. That is one thing. And again, the inherent components can be combination of skill sets and passion and confidence and conviction about yourself. So end of the day, it is the leadership's responsibility to invest all the strengths and instilling confidence in the team to move towards the solution finding approach.
Yeah, so you just reminded me actually. See, in a spiritual organization, right, you don't hire people and you don't fire people, right? But in an organization such as yours, yes, if somebody is not competent, you say, okay, goodbye, you're not fit for the job. In any way, nice diplomatic way, you can fire them, okay? So the point I'm making is that, yes, sometimes we need to see competency. Sometimes we also, if you're willing to put the energy into it, is to find the quality in that person and to make them shine, which is what really the Brahma Kumaris is doing. Many of us never thought we would be doing what we're doing. But the seniors, our dadis, had so much hope in us, trust in us, and we end up, emerging certain strengths and qualities which we might not have done if we were in a working field. Okay, another one? Anybody else wants to share? Okay. Yeah.
Good evening. I am Devikan. So what I feel is like towards organization, we have to build a competent team. The only competence to build a competent team, to build a great organization, we have to build competent team, number one. Second is we have
to build competence.
Competent team. We have to build, as a leader, we have to build competent team.
Yeah.
Next is that we have to build service loyalty to customers and financial loyalty to organization. 2 points I thought.
Okay, good, yeah. But see, sometimes also sometimes also people don't know that they have this competency, you see? As a leader, I need to look into that and highlight it and encourage it. Yes.
I am Muralidhar. So what I feel is that the participative management, style of leadership will be much beneficial. Instead of trying to force upon our ideas on the team, better invite suggestions and then come out with a finally acceptable solution so that participation and then the involvement.
But maybe you can carry on this conversation at the dinner table. Okay, maybe you'll have other people with you, but anyway, something to think about, because there was that conversation. I'll just give a recap of that table. So the brother was saying, yes, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So should we use push leadership or the soft leadership? And he's saying that sometimes it differs from the class of occupation. Sometimes those in the lower class need more pushing, and upper class need more maybe humbling. Okay, so I'm skipping a few slides. Here's one which I think is important. So basically, we've got to keep, this is not my chart, this is from a book, extracted from Living in Balance. Okay, so imagine that this line is the level of skill set. And this is the level of demands or challenges. Okay, so this is how much I know what to do, and this is the demands that are put on me. Okay, so in order for me to cope, right? Say for example, the levels of demands are high, and I don't have the skill set. Then what happens? There is burnout. Do you get it? Too much happening, I don't know how to deal with it, so there is burnout. On the other hand, if I'm too competent and there's not enough demands, or I'm not using my skill set, there is rust out. Okay? And where we really want to be ideally is in this happy zone, comfort zone, where there's enough skill set and enough challenges to use that skill set. And in between are the learning zones. So we may kind of, fluctuate a bit here and there, but ideally we want to keep in the straight and narrow here. So that's something you need to be mindful of. That, yes, sometimes you may have competent employees, but then you have to give them enough challenges. Otherwise you won't retain them. And then again, if they're not skilled, yes, maybe find somebody else. Okay, this is important, and again, maybe a $1 million question. What is your purpose? So again, if you just look around this room, there's the fan, there's the chair, there's the mic, there's the table, everything in this room has a purpose. What doesn't have a purpose? Everything that's been created has a purpose. So what is my purpose? What am I here to give of myself? Right? The mic says use me. The table says use me. The chair says use me. So, what am I saying? How am I saying use me? What is my purpose? What am I here to give? So, again, if I can get to the answer to this, and it's not just purpose as in I'm here to lead. No, I'm here to be. I'm here to shine. I'm here to radiate. I'm here to inspire. You see, these are all metaphysical qualities. And if I'm doing that, then automatically you will find that you're doing well at your work. So this is something, again, very interesting. If the iceberg is moving if the air is moving in this direction, right, left to right, and the water is moving in this direction, which direction is the iceberg moving? Water. Why water? More of the iceberg is in the water. Okay? Yes, the greater mass is here. In the same way, right, this is our external. The physical environment, our social relationships, even our character, the actions, our personality may be external. But all of that is governed by the internal, which is the spiritual, mental, emotional. Who I am is as a result of what I'm thinking inside. How I perceive life. What are my attitudes? Do you see? And a lot of that, and again, come back to sanskars. There's a lot of sanskars in the soul. You see? So this is what's actually governing us. This is another reason why I need to go inside, into the soul, and do self-reflection and ask myself what is inside here, all this depth, the iceberg within the soul, is it working for me or not? And if certain habits are not working for me, I need to discard them. I need to change them, transform them. In fact, I wanted to share the story when I was at the table, but I thought I'd share with all of you. So I don't know who's keeping track, but can I have a few more minutes? Can I? Are you okay for a few more minutes of me talking? Okay. Okay, so there's a story of, again, another person. And he was running a company in Australia. And he had a small company. And what happened, the company was going into loss. So he thought to himself, okay, I don't know what to do, and whatever's our next project, I don't know what it's going to be, but if it's not a good project, I may have to fire some people. Anyway, what happened is he was given an invitation to take on a project with submarines, okay? And submarines, it's only used in warfare, right? So he thought about it, because here was a job, a project he's getting, but his company is losing money. He has to pay the staff the salaries. So he thought to himself, what should I do? Should I take this job or not? So what he decided to do is ask the people, the employees. He says, okay, you know what? All of you are going to help me decide. So he said, this is the job. If we take it, it goes against our principles, right, of working with armaments. And if we don't take it, we may need to cut down on salary. You may not get your salary. So you help me decide, should we take this job or not? Here's the box. Put your piece of paper in the box. Yes, take it. No, don't take it. And we will decide as a company. Okay, when they opened the box, can you believe? Oh, everybody said no, don't take the project because we don't believe in it. Okay, so this became news, It got into the newspapers. that such and such a company was given this proposal by whatever, the government, ministry, whatever. They didn't take it, they refused to take it because they're an ethical company. And this was featured in the newspaper. So can you believe, now seeing that newspaper ad, other ethical companies said, hey, we want to work with this guy, we want to work with this company. So I'm telling you this story because, again, sometimes you might think that, you know, you're taking a risk. But if you stay true to your values, then really something will come around. Something will turn around where you won't go into loss because you stay true to your values, you stay true to your purpose, okay? And this is where I'm saying we get powered from the inside, not powered from the outside. So inside you need to be in touch with your intuition, your conviction, okay? And then you know that this is the right thing to do. Okay, so these are the different structures of wellness that all the components that you need to think about. So as I said, each one has to know their life's purpose. Physically taking care of the people. Social relationship, meaning, again, your company, camaraderie. Mental, is everybody feeling okay? Emotional, again, the heart. And the environment has to be clean, tidy, right? Supportive. Okay, so this is how wellness spreads. If I'm spiritual, I spread positive vibes, social, happy relationships. Here, environment, I'm doing a pun on this because as you sow, so shall you reap. Right? Literally, like if you plant lots of trees, you get more oxygen. But in the same way, if you do good deeds, you get, good back. Mental, if I'm taking care of my mental state, I have a peaceful mind. I'm calm and serene if I take care of my emotion. And I'm happy and healthy. My cells are also happy and healthy. So this I'm just going to walk through very quickly. So basically what I'm trying to show you here, and I think this is something that you can actually take away to your companies, right? And do as courses, as a structure. So basically, there are 4 pillars of Raj Yoga meditation. One is knowledge. We say Gyan, Yoga, Dharana, and Seva. So knowledge is all about self-awareness. What makes me tick? What makes me happy? What makes me sad? What makes me lose my power? It's all about self-awareness. Then yoga, meditation, is where I get power. I'm empowering my thoughts. So I'm mind managing. I'm managing my mind. This is where so I know that this is not right, and in yoga, I fix it. Okay? Dharana. Dharana is about self-transformation, which is about adaptation, cooperation, giving respect, receiving respect. This is dharana, exchange in relationships. And then seva. Seva and also you have in your companies, right? Corporate social responsibility. So it's what I'm giving back then. Whatever I've taken, this is what I'm giving back, okay? So in what ways can we do that personally and as a company? And this is something you might find interesting. This also theory is taken into companies now. The theory of the Trimurti, okay? Which is creation, sustenance and destruction. Right? We say, the 3 acts of God. And actually we say God is an acronym. Acronym means G-O-D, God. Generator, operator, destroyer. So what is the Brahma state? The Brahma state is initiating, creating new mindsets, courage to take the first step, taking risk. Right? This is all creation, Brahma. Vishnu, the manager, manages the present situations and yet retains competitive advantage. So take care of your key products, people and customers. Right? There's the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle is 20% of your income will come from 80%, or 80% will come from your 20%. Okay? So again, take care of that 20%. And then there's the Shankar, the Terminator. The Terminator. Yes. Operator. Yeah. So here Shankar transforms what is not working. right? Discriminate and adapt to new business environment. Discard areas, products, employees which are not relevant any longer. Right? In other words, keep up with the present and don't stay archaic. Yeah, okay, I'm just finishing.
Can you display all the three together?
Yeah, I can't actually. Yeah, sorry. I tried earlier. My assistant helped me and I can't do it. Okay, so this is something else. Again, if you take the Raj Yoga course, these are the powers that are attained through Raj Yoga. Pack up, tolerate, accommodate. Each one refers to each of these pictures. And then this is another thing, as I was saying, karma. Right? Again, I just love it that in Hindustan, everybody knows about karma. You know, in other parts of the world, you have to convince them of karma. But here, everybody knows. As you sow, so shall you reap. But karma is also saying that I have a choice. Yeah? At every moment, I have a choice. So every single day, you make a choice. To sit on this side, where you see lovely view, or this side, where you're grumpy and unhappy. We also talk about dharana, as I told you, in Raj Yoga, and how to have good wishes and pure feelings for each other. So this is how we create good relationships. So happy employees are 31% more productive than unhappy employees. Okay, and this is something I want to leave you with, that this is, you can take this on as the Parthiba, you can take this on as a 60-day challenge. Throughout the day, traffic control, like stop different times of the day and just pause, you know, check the traffic of your mind. Daily, lunchtime, you can have meditation sessions. Once a week, group meditation workshops. Monthly, you can have retreats. And something called values at work, where you all decide, okay, this week we're going to focus on respect. Or this week, cooperation. So let's all try to cooperate more, you know? So take a value for every month. Okay, I'm going to skip this slide. And yes, as you change, your vision changes, right? This is the philosophy of the Brahma Kumaris. As I change, the world changes, okay? But that's not the world has changed, but my vision has changed. So the world looks different to me. And that's it, I think. Yeah, that's it. Could have talked more, but time's up. Anyway, I'm sure there's a lot more that the center can offer you. So do continue coming and do continue taking the courses. And there's so much knowledge. There's still so much knowledge to share with you that can make a difference in your life. So anyway, I wish you all the best. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sister Aruna. That was very insightful, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to dialogue with each other, get to hear some inspirations from you all. So now I'm going to request Sister Ambika, who's the head of the center, Varadani Bhawan here, Brahma Kumari's center, to please come and share some words of inspiration with us. So while we're doing this, can I request the volunteers to please put out the survey form, so when you get a moment you can fill out your feedback to us and how we can make these kind of services better.
Om Shanti. Heartily welcome. Just not today, but always. And today, as the time is moving, I wish to tell two things. It is time. It is now. It is time for us to wind up. It is time for us to withdraw. Why I do say this? It is time. Whatever is scattered, it is time for us to pack up, to face challenges. And only now we can do. In Hindi we say, ab nahi to kab nahi. Kal ke liye chodo nahi. Kal kal karte khal kha jayega. So isliye, to withdraw my own self, it is now we are getting the true wisdom, as our beloved sister has shared a lot with you. And it is a time now, the confluence where the true wisdom about self and about the Creator, to shift ourselves to my own true identity. I get the deepest knowledge, the true wisdom only now. With that, it is easy for us to return back to self-sovereignty. In this, the whole essence, I wish to say a small story and end this. And it is so easy for you to inculcate this spirituality in life, in day-to-day life. To be a king, you are all leaders, you are all kings, you are all masters. To have that mastery always, as a king Janaka, even though he was a king, but still he was said to be a Jivan Mukta Janaka. A Rishi came to just testing and to see, even though sustaining the whole kingdom, how can he be totally a liberated one? As soon as he comes seeing Rishi, Janaka, the king understood why he has come. He says to Rishi, before I could speak to you, please have a look of my palace. He tells his minister to accompany him and give a light diva. And he says that you see everything, but this should not be lit off. दिवा बुझना नहीं चाहिए जब तक आप वापस आते हो. The Rishi goes around and then he comes back, and a king asks, how was my palace? He says, I don't know how was your palace, but the whole of my attention was on light. क्योंकि आपने कहा ये बुझना नहीं चाहिए. So the king says, this is my secret of liberation. Even though a king, even though seeing my whole dynasty, sustaining, caring for everything in the kingdom, but still I am completely uninfluenced, untouched by all these things, because my attention is within. I am always towards my inner light. My attention is towards my inner light. That should not be lit off from my consciousness. So the whole essence of spirituality taught in Brahma Kumaris is to have a paradigm shift from human doings to human beings. That is, we think always I, as Sister was telling, which connects with the physical identity. But we have to shift now to my eternal true self. That is, I am the being within this body, the spiritual being. We are not just human doings, but we are all spiritual beings, the being of light within. When I shift to myself, shift the consciousness to my eternal truth, then it is easy for me now to connect with the source, so that I can tap all the powers to get back my true kingdom, the self-sovereignty. There I can lead the whole of my organization, I can lead the whole society, then the whole world. So saying so, I say that this is the time, it is now, we should shift finally.
Sister Ambika, that was a very beautiful story. Putting the context of things in, these stories really sticks. Otherwise, then there's one thing I've noticed in all of the different workshops, lectures, trainings. Stories have a real incredible power of conveying and retention as well. So thank you for that. So now we're coming towards sort of the closure of this dialogue. We have one more. We have a closing meditation. But before that, Bharti, come up. We want to take a moment to discuss where we go from here. Creating these communities, gatherings is wonderful, but it only has value when there's continuity. Okay? So if you all just take a moment, I know some of you are already busy filling up the forms. Can I have your attention just for a couple of minutes? Bharti and I are going to have some ideas of what we think will be next steps, and then we want to solicit your ideas on what you think could be valuable next steps. So number one is something that we have seen both in the East and in the West, that for these kind of leadership community, silence retreats are very powerful. So we have created a very nicely tuned silence retreat, which is for the weekend. You start on a Friday evening and last till about Sunday afternoon. So that is one option, a silence retreat. That is particularly for leaders. So this is going to be a smaller group, so usually between, I don't know how many people, but how many people maximum we can? Yeah, that's exactly. So in West we do no more than 25. I wanted to make sure India also does the same thing. So say about 25 people would be the perfect sweet spot, so to speak. Yeah. So that's one. That's for you folks. The second thing that we can offer is coming to your companies and doing workshops, because the last time when we did that CXO Dialogue in October, a number of companies said, can you come and do something for our employees? We would like for us to extend these services to them. So today I'm happy to announce that we have many teachers trained. Last time in October we did not. Today we have many teachers right here in Bangalore trained on a program called Leading the Self. Excellent workshop. It's in 10 parts. Right? There's 10 parts to it. If you want to do it once a month, twice a month, whatever your frequency is. We have a very thorough curriculum. It's a curriculum. This is important because coming and doing a one-off thing, we've seen that doesn't stick. That doesn't really have a lasting change. So we built a curriculum with the help of one of our friends who's an international speaker and coach to build this program, and we've trained local teachers to be able to deliver to a number of companies at the same time. So these are two options. Anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, so this is a program called Leading the Self, and one of the objective of the program is, unless as a leaders, if we don't lead ourselves, we cannot lead others actually. So how to make this objective to meet is one of the prime goal, and that is what is, as Janatna was mentioning, it is divided into 10 modules, and as a package also it is there. So it depends on the requirement. We can also do in-house or at your place also actually. And soon we can also send you some synopsis of it for you to go through that actually.
So is the two options clear? The value of the silence retreat, I don't think I need to describe it, right? You're sort of self-evident from it. It's a time for like-minded people who are trying to make a positive difference in the community of the business. Okay? So, what else can you think of that could be valuable next steps? Yes, so we are really open to listening to any other suggestions you might have.
Something customized for your organization sometimes, right? So you may suggest it.
Most of the sessions we are discussing the generic or very outline subjects on the leadership or management organizations. But I think we should now and then pick up the practical challenges the organizations face in different faculties of the organization, be it HR or business administration or marketing, whatever. I think we should throw open with some panelists in the respective practical challenges, case studies, debates and discussions. I think this would be more of something to take home.
Yes, wonderful idea. In fact, so the team, I hope you're listening. So one of the ways that we can implement what the gentleman just suggested is these kind of gatherings, smaller gatherings, evening gatherings, we can make this a panel. So we don't necessarily have to have some speaker, etc. We can have a theme. Like for example, the gentleman just mentioned, you can pick up, let's say, vertical challenges within the industry, right? So let's say marketing challenges, HR retention challenge, and have the panelists, and of course, and have a spiritual person to bring the spiritual perspective. So we don't have to make it very complicated. So a very, very good suggestion. Thank you. Anything else that you can think of?
Thank you. This is something to do with the age group at which we address these events. I would say that, if I were to look around here or elsewhere in any other event, generally it's the 40 plus or 50 plus age group people who are trying to learn more and trying to deploy more, if I may say so. But it might be very prudent for us to look at addressing at a younger age, especially at institutions which deal with business or with management or with even beyond that, it could be sciences or whatever. So I'm sure you have some programs for the student communities or the post-student, I call it, at the finishing school or something beyond that. Because this, I think, is good because they inculcate inside them what is required very early.
Yes.
Unlearning and learning is not an easy task.
Yes.
We have, over a period of time, we have learned some things. We have set certain bits in our mind. Taking them off is going to be a challenge, but youngsters can do it faster.
Very good. Brilliant suggestion. So you have struck a chord which is very dear to my heart. So just so you know, in Silicon Valley where I live, we have programs which we call Leaders of Today, which is the wise leader and all of that, and Leaders of Tomorrow, which is what you're talking about. There's a very wonderful curriculum built by one of our teachers, Diane Tillman, she lives in Southern California, called Living Values, which is inculcating at that age, even as young as 3. She's got a different categories, 3 to 6, 7 to 14, and what she calls young adults. So we have already beautiful curriculum that we need to, Sister Ambika, this is a very good suggestion that has come up. How do we take value-based programs, these kind of programs, to young people in schools and colleges? A very, very good suggestion. I think that's very important because the way that I look at it is, it's like, launching a rocket. When you're launching the rocket and you're somebody, like he said, you're already halfway or 3/4 of the way into space, you so off your target, a 1 degree shift mistake here results in missing the moon by 1,000 miles. So we try to inculcate those values early in the children and the young people. So very valid point. I think we should try to inculcate these programs for leaders of tomorrow. Beautiful. Anything else?
So values in life, basically 3 decades back, I never seen old age homes. I definitely feel this organization can step in and cancel all the old age homes.
Another very important subject, this intergenerational learning, which is what I think you're referring to. Letting older people spend time with younger people. When the people in between are too busy, you have the imbibition of values, the transfer of values happening from our grandparents to the grandchildren, which is a very important thing. The way that I look at it is that every human being, older person, is like a living library. A person passes away, a library burns down. How much have you garnered, how much have you harvested from that library that's living in your own house, backyard, neighborhood, whatever you want to call it? I don't know if you know this very interesting thing. Okinawa, Japan. Do you all know that? Okinawa, Japan has got the highest life expectancy. So people live, up 90 and 100 is very common there. One of the big reasons, besides the fact that they eat a lot of sea kelp and seaweed and all that other iodine-rich food, is that the older folks, community-driven programs where children are not going to these daycare centers and crushes and whatever other things, they're actually spending time with the older generation. So when the older generation feels that they're being needed, naturally their life expectancy increases. So it's a very, very good suggestion. Okay, I think now it's coming to sort of a standstill. So what I would request is all these suggestions that we proposed, they've proposed, whatever you're interested in, I want you to please jot it onto your piece of paper. So we want to know some sort of a ranking, right? So you have a survey form. Just mention it at somewhere in the form, just put it at the bottom and tell us we're interested in A, B, C. And we will collate, we will aggregate that thing and see which is the most popular request. And we will announce, we have, I believe, all your email addresses, so we'll announce the next event, gatherings, programs?
I begin to see many thoughts, many feelings, many ideas, many inspirations. But right now I choose to set all that aside and go deep, deep inside into the core of my being, where there is a stillness. There is a silence and a stillness. And here I feel absolutely at peace. I remind myself that my natural nature is of peace, and that nothing and no one can take away my peace. I also remind myself that I am a powerful soul. Powerful because I can manage my thoughts, manage my mind. And so together with the peace and the power, I have a very healthy mind. So right now I'd like you to create a positive thought about yourself. And a positive thought about those that you work with. And a positive thought about the world. And if you can't see anything positive, look and look until you can. So like in the story of King Janak, I ensure that my inner light doesn't blow out. My light is my happiness. My light is my power. My light is my love. My light is my strength. My light is my kindness and caring nature. And every day I need to put the oil of attention so that my inner light always shines. So for a few moments I'd like you to really feel the eternity of the soul. This light is immortal, imperishable. I, the soul, am eternal.